He didn't deserve it, and his family didn't deserve it. All those kids out there didn't deserve to have to see that. He's amazing. He's amazing. He was so awesome. Like I said, they say one man can't make change in the world. But they can. They really can. To me, he's a saint. He is a saint. He is the patron saint of America. Well, I've been up since about 3:30. Today's 9/11.
So it took me a minute to get this all set up.
We had the assassination.
And obviously not that well. I can't even reach my mic.
Charlie Kirk.
There we go. But my little one just is waking up.
I just felt like I had to make a video about this
in a little bit.
We have a few videos planned today because.
And we'll be right here.
This isn't going to silence anybody.
You're in my room. Oh my God.
This is not going to silence a single one of us with a red hat. You see that sign? That's for you, Democrats. Anyone who thinks that what happened yesterday was okay, that's for you. You psychotic liberals, that's for you. We're going to start with the news today and just dive into what we've seen so far and what we know about what's happened. Charlie Kirk, he deserves to be a patron saint of America. I truly believe that. If no one else wants to recognize him as the patron saint of our country, that's fine, but I am. He's the patron saint of this country. He changed it. He changed the entire trajectory of our planet. They say one man can't do that, but one man did. His name was Charlie Kirk. He changed the youth. He helped the youth understand what their teachers weren't willing to and what their parents didn't know either, because we've been brainwashed for a long time. I'm gonna finish my tea and come back, okay? Try to have a better day. We'll jump into this video as soon as I come in here. Luna's joining us today. Before I make the video, before we jump into the clips I've collected, I just want to start with a prayer. And I just ask you guys to respectfully lower your heads and pray silently with me. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen. In the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Don't jump up there, Pancake. The video didn't download. It was supposed to download. It did not download. We might have to move to my other room and watch it on my computer if I cannot locate it. You're most likely going to hear my kiddos' videos in the background, but that's okay. We'll get through it. And I will do my best not to cry, but I can't make any promises because this is a rough one. This is rough.
And there's nothing controversial about saying socialism is worse than capitalism. Men and women are different. Let's put America first, because that's all he was about, putting America first. And as Greg said, this hits differently because Charlie was one of us. And Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot, barely survived. It's happening. You got trans shooters. You got riots in LA. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop. And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, the media, and all these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point, and we know which direction we're going.
Turning point used so appropriately there.
Yeah, I wanted to start with that from Jesse Waters on the 5 last night, because it's true. They have been calling for war since Trump began to run. In my very first video that I ever made politically, I showed all of the insanity and the evil that they spew from their mouths, and the way they speak to their followers, telling their followers to pick up weapons and harm people.
I thought he should have punched him in the face, so even if you lost, he insulted your wife. Yeah, he down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should punch him in the face, and then got nabbed the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death. Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated. I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a clock, and you push back on them, and you tell them day and night, well done. Any
consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump. Danger to our country and the world, and stick with it.
Stick with it? Until when? They successfully have him assassinated?
Correct me?
That is not the Republicans doing that. That is the liberals that have been controlling the Democrats. And they're not even real liberals. Real liberals do not act this way. A true liberal is somebody who believes in the liberation and freedom of everybody. These people who are pretending to be liberals, they're actually the real fascists. They are. It's true. You don't want people to speak. You want to kill people for speaking against you. You want everyone to do exactly as you do. And what's weird is you guys think you're counterculture when you're following orders. I don't understand it. Well, I just wanted to show you guys this next clip with Brad Palumbo. It was also from yesterday. And it's about how MSNBC decided to report on this. And it is a new day. They have realized their mistake and removed this man from ever working with them again, supposedly. We'll see where this goes. Oh my god, I can't hear it. I guess I didn't put the sound on this video at all.
Because this...
I'm so stupid.
EJ.
Okay. We're gonna skip that whole clip, I guess. And move on to Jesus Enrique Rosas, the body language guy. And I will add the clip. Okay, since that clip's not here, I will add it when I'm editing and we'll watch it together then. But for now, let's move on to the body language guy. He reported yesterday as well, immediately. And I'm not completely sure what his analysis was, so let's check it out.
A spiritual war. We are dealing with EJ.
Here we go.
The time has come to become a radical. If we have learned anything from this month, September 2025, is that we are waging a spiritual war. We are dealing with literal demons everywhere. And maybe you think this sounds too metaphysical. But when you realize the gutter in which this half of the population has brought us by force, then you know that something has to be done. And there's no longer space for lukewarm responses or trying to find the middle ground. Because these people, we used to say metaphorically, but now it's not metaphorical anymore. They want you dead. They want us dead. They want us silenced at all costs. And they have already proven enough times that they're willing to do anything to shut us down. We have the reactions to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I think that you will agree with me. This is only getting started. Milo Yiannopoulos, the response must be peaceful, permanent, and laser-focused on those responsible for the state that we are in. Every network news operation, CNN, The Post, The Times, the Ford Foundation, Bill and Melinda, Meta and Alphabet, seize their assets, shut them down, do it today. These people have been pushing narratives for way too long. But at what costs? Reporting, Charlie Kirk did everything the right way. He encouraged proper debate. He loved his wife, his kids, and God. And the left still killed him. He was debating. He was...
Sorry, but I would argue that's why they killed him. I honestly think that's why they killed him. He loved God, he loved his kids, and he loved his wife. And what do the Democrats want? They want single women having as many babies as they can so they can stay hooked on government money. They want to make sure people aren't married. They want to make sure kids aren't raised by their parents and they're raised by a system. They want to make sure people are godless. That's why they killed Charlie Kirk. That is why they assassinated Charlie Kirk. They thought it would stop the movement of God. Nothing can stop God. And nothing will stop his light.
Just debating. And they killed him. What does it say about what are they willing to do to you if you raise your voice? Or to me, raising my voice right now. Matt Walsh, all that Charlie ever did was have conversation with people. He didn't insult anyone. He made arguments. He debated. He wasn't an extremist in any way. Everyone who knew Charlie personally loved him. That's the kind of guy he was, and they still killed him. I am furious and heartbroken in equal measure. I cannot put into words how I feel. Maybe that is for the best. Yeah, maybe we should sit this one out for 24 hours, 48 hours, because
that's why we pray.
One thing is for certain.
That's why we pray.
Charlie was the less radical of any of us. By far. And he was killed. Let that sink in. He was the less radical of any of us. And they did that to him. Gary Rodrodick, this is what happens when the mainstream media tells you half the country are Nazis for the last 9 years straight. Prayers to Charlie Kirk's family. Yeah, that's what they have been doing. calling us Nazis, racists, every single is that there is. And for what? What do they stand for? What are their values, their principles? They have none. All they know is to destroy. All they know is to turn to shreds. Adam Kriegler, they just assassinated a future president. Then that's a fact. Peter B., Charlie Kirk's shooting needs to unite us, not with the left, but within the right. We need to understand something. All of us on the right must stop the infighting and recognize there is one demon above all that must be slain. I'm no different. I argue, I debate. But now it's the time to put that aside and unite against the radical left. Joey Manorino, Trump has got to go full Bukele. Now, I agree with Joey. Fill the jails up with these terrorists. Well, fill the jails up. I actually made a joke about this. I have to say, I need to bring the Anakin joke. The Anakin meme. I agree with Democrats. Maybe filling up the jails is not the real solution. Maybe it's not the way. I'm not going to elaborate. I don't want to get into trouble.
Well, I agree with him, and we're not going to
I don't want to get
elaborate.
into trouble. Count Dankula. Things are about to get very...
Things are about to get very bad, he says. Well, I agree. I agree with him. Not about the things that are about to get really bad. But I agree with him that we need to take a different precaution than stuffing him in jails.
Very bad. Fisher King. They killed a 31-year-old father of two whose only crime was to go to university campuses and engage in good faith with people who disagreed with him. If this isn't a wake-up call, then we are never going to wake up.
It's true. We must see this now, guys. And those of you on the left who may be watching this, I hope you're starting to see like what the truth is about your party and what lays within it, the evil that's buried within it, that's hidden not very well either. It's not hidden very well. 2026, everyone's going to be voting red. There will not be one blue city, maybe a county or two, but all the cities will be red. I'm positive.
Then we are never going to wake up. Mega Lillywhite, it is time to stop forgiving your enemies and start punishing them. We are way past that. Way past that. Cernovich, Charlie Kirk did not receive due process. I would like to know what Senator Rand Paul has to say about this. Aesthetica, there's no going back after this. There's no more words to be said. The only way this ends is the complete annihilation of the Democrat Party.
Okay, we are moving on to the next video, which is the governor of Utah, Orem, Utah, okay? And he has a few words I felt we needed to hear. It's just a few. Okay, it looks like we're starting with Pritzker, which I was starting to feel bad for him. I actually was starting to feel like, okay, maybe we should stop the body shaming. This is a little extreme. He's even bringing it up in his own interviews, so this is getting a little weird. But honestly, this is insanity. And if nothing's off the table, then okay, nothing's off the table. Go lose some weight. Go hit a treadmill. Eat a salad.
Understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
So following up here on the tragic death of Charlie Kirk, we have yet more examples of mainstream Democrat politicians following a trend I've been calling out since the beginning, which is the refusal to condemn or push back on and the continued making of excuses for the radical activist voter base within their own party. Essentially, yes, is it true that there is a mainstream celebration and glorification of violence on the political left? Yes, indeed there is. You can go on TikTok right now, you can go on Reddit, or you can look at the opinion polls we showed you in the last video that do indeed prove this is about 50% of the entire Democrat voter base that supports this deranged, sick ideology that basically says, if you disagree with me, that's a violation of my human rights, therefore I have the right to blank you, right? But we have more of that today. We got to talk about, for instance, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Okay, before we get into this a little more, this is Vince Dow. He's literally my favorite reporter on YouTube. He does a very good job. Him and Devery Darkins. They are to the point. They are very politically correct. They're never in their emotions, as I may be sometimes, or very opinionated. Okay, they share opinions, but in a very respectful way. Now let's hear what these terrifying people are sparking in their followers, in their party.
Who is saying, in response to the shooting of Charlie Kirk, that it is not the fault of the person who did this. It's not the fault of the ideology who very likely, we don't know for sure obviously, but it would appear here may have fomented this. No, surely it is actually the fault of Donald Trump and his supporters, Charlie Kirk there being one of those supporters, for being shot at. Because your guys' rhetoric is what is causing you guys to get shot. Which is a really sick and dystopian way to view anything, right? It is victim blaming. I know the left likes to use that word a lot in certain contexts. But imagine that, right? Essentially, if you stop disagreeing with us, if you stop saying things we didn't like, speaking here in the third-person voice of the left, then we would stop attacking you and trying to unalive you. What a idiot, what a moron. This, by the way, okay, that you want to talk about the politicization of tragedy, immediately in the moments following a attack, not on a left-winger, but on a right-winger, you go out there to make a political statement against Trump. Utterly lunatic, okay, utter lunacy, utter ridiculousness. But we'll tell you about it. And well, with all of that said, I just want to show you right here. So this was the immediate statement from Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, this absolutely smug, idiotic moron here, saying on the shooting of Charlie Kirk that political violence, unfortunately, has ramped up in this country. I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. Further, I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. Okay, we have plenty to say, obviously, but first take a listen to Mr. Pritzker here. And remember, we're not talking about some radical figure. This is not Zoran. This is not AOC. This is genuinely like a 2028 Democrat contender. He's the guy who just sheltered the Texas Democrats and claimed that we're fighting back in the existential crisis that we need. And this is what he had to say about Charlie Kirk being shot now to death.
Governor, do you have concerns about political violence in the wake of what happened today in Utah? The activist Charlie Kirk, one of the people being shot?
Yeah, first I want to express my sympathy to Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
Really?
And the president, what did he do? He pardoned them. I mean,
so
what kind of signal does that send
what a
to
disgusting
people who
person you are.
perpetrate political violence?
Gross.
Not a good one.
Well, first of all,
How
you guys
dare
spent
he?
the entire summer right before that burning down the country, trying to break into courthouses and murder the people inside. There were countless people actually killed, unlike on January 6th. BLM rioters did indeed take people's lives. But whatever, not here to get into that. I just have a simple...
Let's not forget how they took over multiple police departments for days, in some cases months. Okay, this is not a time to incite previous acts of violence to make this one okay. What's wrong with you?
Question, okay, J.B. Pritzker. You have any evidence that this attack, or even the attack in Minnesota, was carried out by a January 6th-er? The answer there, it would appear, okay, we obviously are waiting on the ID, but I'm going to take a wild guess here. Yes, indeed, the answer there is no. Because it does not even make logical sense. Let's get this straight. According to J.B. Pritzker, Trump's radical rhetoric would radicalize what's probably a leftist, or certainly someone who doesn't like Trump, right? To go after one of Trump's top supporters and top kind of advocates in America and do an attack on them because they were listening so much to Trump and they acted on that. It doesn't even actually make any sense. Simultaneously, though, according to Pritzker, the very rhetoric that constantly says Trump is a fascist, and of course a lot of leftists, as we've covered, genuinely do believe, hey, he is Hitler, therefore it's justified to take him out, because if we don't, it's going to be like Nazi Germany. He's attacking our human rights. We have a right to retaliate and defend, right? All of this left-wing rhetoric, these statements you constantly hear, such as oppressed people have a right to resist oppression, right? Stuff like that. You know, it's okay to do whatever you want to Nazis, etc. No. Surely, logically speaking, that is not the type of rhetoric that would foment an attack on a top Trump supporter and right-winger. No, it's the right-wing's own rhetoric that apparently, according to you, is making your own side mad, and you're claiming that it's our fault because your people, allegedly it would appear here, cannot control themselves. They're completely emotionally unstable and mentally deranged, and therefore, anytime you make them mad, you have to be worried about threats and acts of violence against you. There you have it. That is like literally what basically J.B. Pritzker here is saying. What an idiot. But again, as I said, what is this about? The Democrat Party, right, is going to do this trend where they say they, you know, condemn the violence, but they don't want to condemn actually the radical activist base that is committing it, because they understand that's their voters. The sort of paramilitary aspect of the way they behave is an intimidation factor against Trump supporters and against the right wing from mobilizing in their own ways across America. And so they're going to turn around and say, yes, we condemn violence, but it's actually the fault of Donald Trump, not ourselves, and certainly, right, not our voter base. This sentiment is further kind of explained here through a video of these two people, these students of the school who are apparently there. And let me be clear, I'm not really here to personally attack them. They just seem like, you know, random kids. Maybe they're kind of naive, but it does...
If you're under 28, you're most likely naive. If you hate Trump and you're under 28, you most likely are naive and just don't know enough about what's really going on. And I will not judge these kids, but the things that came out of their mouth are very disappointing. It's very disappointing to hear the youth like this.
Sum up the mentality here again, because two of these students said, and I quote, "The focus of this should probably be on some sort of gun control or something like this, so that things like this can't happen." Take a listen. This is the mentality.
Speaking live right now. Let's watch.
It's going to impact, I think, on a broader scale. Do you think it's going to kind of cause an uproar or anything?
Well, from what I'm hearing, if it's true, the guy who got shot, he was a pretty big influence in whatever was going, like their agenda, right? So if, I don't know, I hope it all like gets figured out, and I really don't want this to happen again.
What do you want to add?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. From what I heard, it was a sniper from a long ways away. So I don't know. I think the focus of this should probably be on probably some sort of gun control or something like that. Yeah, so that things like this can't happen again.
Okay.
Don't you love when they say that? Oh, I think we need gun control. Isn't that what they tried in France and London? Isn't that what they tried for like some of the Native American groups? Does losing your guns while the government still has guns sound like a good idea? Where every thug and criminal are going to carry their guns. They're not going to care what the law says. Why would they care what the law says? It reminds me of my favorite meme, and I'm going to put it right here because it's a good one. And if you don't realize this is what's going to happen if you take guns, like, this is not real. This is not reality, okay? No cholo, no hood rat, no gangster, and no criminal is going to come over with their guns to the freaking local police department to hand over their weapons. That's never going to happen. So if you want to hand over your weapons as a citizen, a law-abiding citizen, that sounds real stupid. Real stupid.
So again, to be clear, I don't want to attack them. They don't really sound like they even know what happened. They're not to blame for this, obviously. Let's not make it about them. But I do want to take it back and listen to the argument, because that is an argument that you're going to hear from mainstream Democratic circles, which is the call for gun control. Now let's translate exactly what they're saying here, because who is the target of gun control in most cases, right? It's Republicans. It's Republican voters. Those are usually the people who are the gun owners in America and all that stuff. So essentially what they're sitting here saying is that Republicans and Republican voters need to give up their guns and give up their freedom to have those in order to stop psychotic, violent leftists from constantly trying to unalive them and even their children, as you've seen in recent cases like that in Minnesota. I mean, what an argument, right? Hey, you have these things. Other people are committing acts of violence against you. It's your fault for standing there and not committing violence, and therefore we need to take away guns from Republican voters. What is that? What? Right? But again, it's this dystopian thing where, they're doing these things. They're literally crying out in pain as they strike you, and then after they strike you, they say it's your fault that you got struck.
Yep.
Shameless, right? Needless to say.
Victims.
But anyways, there you have it. I also want to show you what Tim Walz said about this, because there's plenty to be pointed out here about Tim Walz himself. But first, here is his statement responding to it, right? He says, in response to Charlie Kirk's death, that an open forum for political dialogue and disagreement was upended by a horrific act of targeted violence. In America, we don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint. I'm praying for Charlie, his family, and his young children. So, in itself, I have nothing to criticize about that statement, except for the fact that, well, does anyone remember what Tim Walz said just a couple of weeks ago about the life of Donald Trump? And this comment is far from alone. It seems like there's a repeated trend of him egging on certain things. I don't know, just saying. So remember this.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Right, so you make comments like this.
They're evil.
You make the infamous Tesla
He's evil,
comments.
and he deserves the name Tampon Tim.
Have your wife talking about how she was sitting back and enjoying the smell of the burning tires through BLM. All of this just weird, deranged stuff. And then after people go out and
I'm upset. I don't get mad very often. I especially don't get mad on public forums. I'm upset. I'm fucking mad. I'm so fucking mad. And guess what I'm not gonna do? I'm not gonna indulge in that emotion and hurt somebody just because I'm sad and upset. I'm gonna sit here and think about it and learn to deal with it like a normal fucking human. Emotions are meant to move through us. We can use them for good. But using them to power yourself for evil, it's sadistic. It's sadistic. Just keep seeing it in my head. He didn't deserve it, and his family didn't deserve it. All those kids out there didn't deserve to have to see that. He's amazing. He's amazing. He was so awesome. Like I said, they say one man can't make change in the world. But they can. They really can. To me, he's a saint. He is a saint. He is the patron saint of America. You're with the angels now, bud, man. I'm sure it's beautiful up there. I'll pray for your family every day I can. I didn't mean for the tampons to get me to the sad place, but you see, that's how it happens when you actually go through your emotions. You see where it's actually stemming from and don't just react. Find God if you don't have Him. Find Jesus. He will bring you comfort. Okay. We're gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm doing this because he fucking inspired me, man. He inspired me, okay? And I'm gonna keep going for you, man. Maybe I'll get a tat. Kirk tat. Saint Kirk tat. Oh, yeah, maybe. Gosh, okay. Let's resume. I apologize.
Commit acts of violence, which, by the way, is a very prevalent problem. It would appear in your own state, like something's going on there, repeated cases, many in the past several months. You turn around and claim like you never did it. And in some cases, you make apologies or you're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. But let me make it clear. Tim Walz knows exactly what he's doing. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm not going to say directly he's inciting violence because, like, legally speaking, if it were in a court of law, you could not prove that. But I will say he knows exactly what he's doing. And what is this all about? Well, first of all, Tim Walz especially, compared more so than a lot of other Democrats, has been known, he has this infamous reputation for making these types of crass or unclassy, or in some cases like violent comments towards, again...
Okay, I'm gonna just add them here. I am getting more upset watching this, so I'm gonna add the clips for you guys to see where he acts like a freaking jerk, specifically just him. I know I have some in my first video too.
When in reality, you're definitely like playing into this type of stuff. And frankly, that's the case for a lot of Democrats. I just want to especially point out Walz because he might be the biggest, most guilty one here of them all. But anyways, I'm sure very soon Tim Walz is also going to be claiming this is Trump's fault. You know, wouldn't surprise me at all. But with that said, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. What do you think of Pritzker? What do you think of these other characters? Be sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year. in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come.
Amen.
Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's
Amen.
voice has become bigger and grander than ever before.
Yes.
And it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Next, I'm pretty sure I have a few different campus college interviews. And there's one I want to add, but I'll do it while we're editing too. Because I saw it this morning and it was really, really rough for this girl who was present. She was present when it happened.
I just witnessed Charlie Kirk get assassinated. It was the most awful thing I've ever seen in my life. He shot him in the neck and blood went everywhere. And the worst part of it all was the liberals who were there were cheering. So I just have one thing to say. If you identify yourself with the Liberal Party, it's okay. You can believe what you want to believe. But if you identify yourselves with those people who were cheering and someone just got killed, I just hope you can take a look at yourself and think, is this who I really want to be? Because that is disgusting. Disgusting.
Kirk being rushed away, and now let's join their live coverage and see what they're picking up after the death of Charlie Kirk.
Your thoughts here, what you're seeing, what you're hearing now that we have that confirmation?
Well, absolutely heartbroken. I mean, Charlie Kirk, one of the biggest political activists in the world, who advocates for free speech, here on campus, talking with students. There was a few students who were able to exchange ideas, and we talked to students who had different ideas, just said that they appreciate that he came on campus, is willing to have a conversation with them. To hear President Trump now say that he's dead is just, it's heartbreaking, and it's also just shocking because of how contentious campuses are when he goes to them. We know that Turning Point USA says they're active on 3,500 different campuses. They have a lot of supporters. And the part that makes Turning Point USA so interesting on social media is that there are other students with different voices that participate at these events. So we know that Charlie Kirk travels to all these different campuses with his security team. We also know that campuses are alerted ahead of time when Charlie Kirk comes and speaks at different campuses across the United States. So what exactly happened here? How many police, how many security were at this event? What was the process of them making sure that students were coming in, weren't armed, or anybody else who would...
I thought that it was the interviews only. They just keep showing it on repeat. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I have a hard time with blood.
feet away from Charlie Kirk, so pretty close to him.
Yeah. What did you see?
I'm sure you've already described it. I don't know if I want to describe it again, but it was pretty traumatizing, pretty terrible. What happened? Just an overall sad situation.
And you were telling us that, did it appear like there was a lot of security there or not much?
No, I mean, we registered for tickets, but they weren't even looking for tickets. Anyone could just walk in. It was at probably the worst place in campus because there's so many areas where anyone can just walk in.
They can just walk in.
So yeah, I would say the security level, I would say UVU kind of felt him in a way.
Well, you followed Charlie for some time now, right?
Yeah.
So you see like when Turning Point USA goes to different campuses, like how like contentious it could be, right? Yes. Was it surprising?
He said they failed him. And we're going to hear from other students who say they weren't checked for tickets either. They paid for tickets and weren't even checked. I can't help. Look, I'm not a news channel. Don't come here for the news. This is just a space where I vlog. My only other channel where I talk about stuff like this is my conspiracy channel. Okay? Because I can't mentally bring myself to the fact that this shit happens. Not planned. This is planned, okay? From heaven's view, this was a plan. And they wanted us to be mad. They keep pointing us, they point us in the direction of trans. They keep saying it's the trans. I don't know what else to think. I feel like there is something else going on. They want us to fight. Stay strong and follow God and trust God. Trust your gut instinct. And my gut instinct is telling me they want us fighting. They want us fighting on a level that is that of materialistic and physical bound things, so that we don't see the underlying war, the spiritual warfare that's happening. They want us targeting just trans. That's not what's happening here. This is spiritual warfare for reals. These are just pawns. They're moving pawn pieces so that they can make bigger moves in the background. Did you see how much stuff came out about Epstein yesterday? A lot. There's probably plenty more things that were hidden in these moments. I hate that this happened. I hate that this happened. I'm not gonna spew conspiracies here. I'm not gonna spew conspiracy theories here. But I have to share that I truly do not believe it was some random transgender. I do not believe that.
That there wasn't more checks and balances entering the campus?
I think it was super surprising, yes. I think for sure in an event like this, where there's debate, and Charlie, sometimes he likes to provoke, they should have a lot more security, just because everyone's welcome, so.
Tell me a little bit about the aftermath after this gunshot went off. Yes. What happened afterwards?
So I was with one of my good friends, and as soon as the gun went off, we both hit the floor, started praying. Everyone was screaming, and then yeah, we got up and we just started running, and we made it to our apartment. So
yeah, you're right around this area. Did you see any students kind of like get injured as everyone was trying to escape?
No, but I did see a select group of students who stood up and cheered after the fact, which was really sad to see.
You're kidding me.
No.
Well,
thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right.
He was cheering. There were people cheering. He just said there were people cheering. They saw a man die in front of them, and they cheered. Tell me they're not possessed. I'm so sorry, you guys. I have not eaten today. I'm still just like spiraling, and I'm trying to do something good with this energy, so making this video was my solution. I apologize. I'm eating a waffle right now. Don't hate me, okay? Please. This next clip is one of the students who was interviewed. She also is the one who did not have her tickets checked.
If I'm going to be honest, I had friends coming in asking if they needed tickets, and I said they didn't even check for my ticket, which I did get a ticket. They did not pat us down. I feel like I maybe saw 3 or 4 police officers in this whole environment of hundreds of people, I would guess, which I thought was a little odd, but at the same time I thought, well, you know, it's Utah, which is probably an ignorant thought to think, but there was not much security precautions taken. There was none.
And you're saying you were 15 feet away from the stage. You were up close and personal with Charlie when he was speaking. Did it sound, and no worries if you don't know this answer, I don't suspect you might, but did it sound like the shot came from behind?
Yes. It sounded exactly from behind us, and that's why I was so worried, and I looked, but I couldn't find anything. But you could also see, obviously, from the way that the blood just, it definitely was from behind. So, or in front of him, I would say, you know, but.
You guys all get down. Describe the moment you guys tried to escape.
I just saw everybody running, and I ran in, like, the second people started getting up, I'm like, I don't want to be left here alone. I didn't want to get up. I wanted to stay there because but I also knew I needed cover in case. And so I just started leaving with everybody, and all I could think is like, is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead? And I look outside and I see the ambulance, and I'm just thinking, I just saw somebody die. I didn't even call my family until like 20 minutes after because I couldn't stop crying. I was like hyperventilating and seeing like all these people just freaking out and having such a hard time. It's just, oh my gosh. But it was beautiful the way that we all came together, like people praying over one another, people loving one another, people asking for okay, sharing numbers with total strangers just to check up on us after this, not just now, but later. I thought that was beautiful how we as a party came together and loved one another in this.
She just said she was happy that people were talking to each other like normal humans. But we've lost it, dude. We've lost it. We gotta get back on track. Every time I saw the video on the train, I know everyone's seen it. We've all seen it. Every time I see it, I see the scene from K-pop Demon Hunters on the train when the honeymoon opens. And I know those of you are gonna think I'm crazy who've never watched it if you don't have kids or you don't watch children's shows. I'll put a clip right here. But it's the perfect analogy of what has happened to society. We have to care for each other, say hello to people, say good morning, say bless you, just a smile. A simple smile can change everybody's day. You don't know what that person's going through, and if you just give them one smile, if you make eye contact, just smile. It's simple. It's a simple gesture. That breaks my heart that our community's that shattered.
Horrible time. Obviously, I'm inconsolable, and so many others are, and we still united in prayer.
And we know just how devout and devoted Charlie Kirk is to Christianity.
Yes, sir.
And to have those prayers, we're hearing it from all across the nation right now. We want to check up on you and make sure that you're okay. MJ, if we could go ahead and get her contact. But guys, Alyssa, Matt, you kind of heard just the turmoil, how chaotic this situation was, Brian, excuse me, and how just devastating, her describing students just getting on the floor immediately, and how gruesome the shooting was, as so many students were just right there in front of Charlie Kirk, seeing the bullet hit him, and you heard Danielle describe just how grotesque.
I know I wasn't the only one who saw it without warning. I'm so sorry to all of you who are feeling what I am. To not get that image out of your head, just pray for him. Pray for his family and his soul, and know that now he is our patron. Be like me and take him as your patron saint, please, and let him watch over America, please. Do that with me. Help me petition this man to be a patron saint of America, please.
that was, and then them praying afterwards for Charlie in the midst of chaos like this. We're hearing more from students like Danielle. We have another student or participant of the event. You go ahead and join me here. What is your name?
My name is Henry.
Henry, you're a student here at UVU?
No, I actually just run a construction company. I heard about, I got some friends that go to UVU here, and they told me about Charlie Kirk coming, so I came to ask some questions. The only thing I really opposed him is just the concept of religion, the difference in religion. So that was pretty much what our dialogue was. We disagreed or whatever, but it was a good, fruitful conversation. You know, he said he loved Mormons. I said we love them. We love Charlie and stuff like that. And it was just really weird because the way that things went down for me, the guy who claimed to have done the shooting, who had no weapon, he, like an hour and a half before the show, was walking around to conservative people and was basically just bashing Charlie's name. Charlie's this, Charlie's that, Charlie's racist.
Well, yeah, we usually see that at Charlie Kirk's information. We got some breaking information now.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and toss things back to Brian. Some breaking.
Why did they cut that kid off? See, when they do shit like that, that's when they get Heaven's brain worried. What did that guy see? He was ready to tell more. He was ready to talk.
To have done the shooting, who had no weapon.
Well, that's all I have right now, guys. I do have more footage that we are going to watch later, but I gotta do some stuff with my kids right now and hang out, distract myself, try to feel a little better. Dedicate time to him today to pray. Let's aim at 2:22 like this clock says. 2:22 in Utah is when all these kids were interviewed. Do we know what time it happened at, guys? Probably, huh? Let's do it at that time. I'll put it here. Yeah, I need food and like coffee, or I need caffeine. My brain's so messed up right now. I know I'm not the only one. Obviously, he got my conspiracy brain going, and every time that happens, I get so distracted. Yes, conspiracies distract my brain. If we do one, I would like to respectfully wait for like 3 months maybe? I don't know. Let's see. This news traveled so fast. Like, people were reporting on this within minutes. There was over like 100 reports. It was crazy to see the way the news cycle went yesterday. 2025 is the beginning of a new era when it comes to technology, and just seeing, we all witnessed this live. Like, we witnessed this live. The whole world witnessed this live. People reported on it within minutes. We're starting to see stuff before we're getting reports from the FBI or CIA, because they're trying to get the case done. And there's all kinds of people in the public already looking as well and putting stuff out there. So they're not going to be able to hide anything. They can try, but we're going to always know the truth. To the Kirk family, my prayers go out to them today. I hope you guys are okay. And remember, oh my god, I didn't stop the video. Please, you guys, remember not to act with violence. Doing that does nothing. Acting on our emotions does nothing for us. It might please us for a second, but it's training your emotions to understand your wisdom that actually finds success. And understanding that when I get angry at Tampon Tim for his comments, that what it really stems from is my sadness of the way things are going right now, and the way that those people are projecting a certain way. I can step away from the projections because they're not real reality. I can remove those emotions from me and transform them into something better. This video, for instance, where we are now expressing how angry America is right now and what we're really going through. And I hope more people speak up now. I hope more people are not afraid. I will not take this off. This is going to be the stinkiest shirt. I'm going to be like that dude who doesn't take off his jersey. Okay, that's me. Because they will never silence me. I always say it. I'd be in prison if Kamala was president, okay? I would. I'd be locked up because nobody's shutting me up. Sorry. I know that's why they used to put cages on women's heads, but that's not a reality anymore. So, join me later and we're going to react to some really hateful bastards who are really enjoying what happened today. I didn't want to do it in the same video. That sounded very wrong, disrespectful, and it would have been like 3 hours long, and I can't do that right now. I love you guys. I love America. I love President Trump. I love Charlie Kirk for everything he's done for America. Our Saint Kirk, patron saint of America. Don't be afraid to express yourself ever, especially when you're in the light of God. I'm gonna leave you guys. Okay, I'm out. I'll see you next time. God bless, okay? I'll see you next time, but God bless.